Good morning, YouTubers. It is, I'm almost gonna hit the house. That's what time it is. Okay, let's pay attention while we're driving. It is August 9th, 2019. And I didn't hit the house. That's your announcement. On my way to work, as usual. Batman's back there. Batman wanted to hold up a sign that says, "I love J-Dub." And I was like, Batman, really? Just call her. Just call her. What is the deal? Anyway, yep, I'm on my way to work. I'm kind of excited. Tonight, my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, my nephew, Alec, are all coming up to stay with us. Alec is done with his competition now with Southwind Drum and Bugle Corps. His team came in 5th overall, which is pretty darn sweet. Out of 28 teams that he was competing against. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome. I mean, that is nothing to, certainly nothing to be ashamed about. They did very well, and I'm very, very proud of him. Very proud of him. So they're going to come up tonight. They're going to stay for a couple days, and then they're going to be leaving with Ethan. So my little nephew who's been with me all summer is going to be leaving, and I'm sad. I'm a little sad. It was nice having him around. But having him around solidified my knowing that I would make a terrible mother. Terrible. I'd be letting my kids run with scissors. They'd be smoking, drinking. Oh my gosh. Not that Ethan was doing any of those things, but I know that I would have been a terrible mother. Just after this, I'm like, yeah, it's a good thing I never had kids. I'm much better at being an aunt than I would have ever been as a mom. So I had that kind of proof positive in me over the course of the last couple months. But I'm an awesome aunt. Okay, like I am freaking awesome. Ethan told me that he basically could talk to me about anything, that I make everything that wherever I am, there's fun. And I don't know, that made me feel good, to hear that from him. He's such a good kid, man. He is so awesome. And I'm very proud to have him as my nephew. Alec as well. I've got great, awesome nephews. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's very cool. And I'm starting to feel better too. My stomach bug, whatever that was, is starting to subside now. The worst of it is over with, I think. Well, I'm starting to wonder if maybe I didn't have like food poisoning or something, which, is a distinct possibility, seeing that I was eating food that wasn't my own. But I don't know, but it's getting better, so that's a good thing. One thing I wanted to talk about, kind of like a aha moment that I had over the last few days. I'm still thinking about the stuff that happened in El Paso and Dayton, and I know that I need to just move on from that. But I'm a gun owner. I own several firearms. I do have what might be considered a assault type rifle. I have an SKS. It doesn't look like one. It has essentially the same receiver as an AK-47. It is semi-automatic, so you have to pull the trigger to shoot it. You don't pull the trigger and have multiple shots. And that's all that semi-automatic means. If you pull the trigger, it's going to shoot one bullet. Fully automatic is you pull the trigger and it either unloads the whole entire clip, or it, you know, will do a 3-round burst. Da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, you know. Or that's 4 rounds, but you know what I mean. And my SKS is a semi-automatic. It's not fully automatic. And it looks like a hunting rifle. And essentially, that's what I got it for. I wanted to learn how to shoot deer. And it was an inexpensive rifle to get. But technically, it is an assault type rifle. You don't have to get a special permit to use it or anything, because it's a full wood stock. You know, there's nothing that can break down on it. I would never use it to shoot another human being. I wouldn't use any of my guns to shoot a human being. I know that. I know that after firing, you know, after shooting for many, many years, I just know that that's not something that I would do. So they're strictly for target practice and for fun. I don't keep them loaded. I just keep them, you know, locked up. That's what I do. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is, I've noticed that a lot of these people who go and do these mass shootings, you know, they get a hold of some sort of assault type rifle, and even though they're not fully automatic, you know, they're squeeze the trigger, shoot the gun. You know, people seem to want to ban those guns. And at first I was like, no, that, you know, it's not the gun, it's the person, which I still believe. Okay. You know, guns don't shoot themselves, people shoot people. But I'm starting to think that maybe if you are a person who is mentally unstable, and you get a hold of something that looks like a powerful military gun, if you're already unstable, will having that gun in your hand give you a God complex? You know, will it make you feel more powerful? Will it encourage you to have the courage to go and commit the deed? That's my question. I mean, my SKS and an AK-47 take the exact same bullets. An AK-47 looks like a scary assault rifle. My SKS has a wood stock. It looks like a hunting rifle. It doesn't look like an assault rifle at all. But they have the exact same receiver and take the exact same bullets. And have, in fact, my SKS, which has a longer barrel, is actually a bit more accurate than an AK-47. But I think that less people would be scared of my SKS versus an AK-47. And I also think that if somebody was mentally unstable and they were going for a gun that could kill people, if they're like specifically going to buy a gun that's going to be used to kill a whole lot of people, and you have an SKS and an AK-47 sitting next to each other, they're going to grab the AK-47. Not because it's a more powerful gun, more accurate, anything like that. It just gives them this God complex. And I think it actually helps to, with a mentally unstable person, it actually helps to push them over the top. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Now, I know there's people out there who own assault rifles who are going to be like, no, that has nothing to do with it. I really do think it does have something to do with it. And I think it's a reasonable conversation that we need to have as a country. I think that to be able to own an assault type weapon maybe we need to start mentally testing people for that. Maybe you have to pass a mental examination to be able to own one of those guns. Now, if you're a mentally sound person, you would have no problem passing this particular test. And I mean, it needs to be designed to determine if somebody is mentally unstable, and it has to be crystal clear. There can't be room for doubt. But I think that that's something we have to think about. There are far more mentally stable people than there are mentally unstable people, which is why we don't have these mass shootings happening on a constant basis. Although it can be argued that that's happening too. It's just, what is the definition of mass shooting, you know? I mean, every day people die on the streets from gunshots, and sometimes 2 people die in a day from being shot at, like in drive-bys and stuff like that. But the assault rifles aren't being used so much in those types of shootings. The assault rifles are happening when some deranged individual who has some crazy idea of how the world should be goes into like a shopping center or a mall and shoots up a bunch of people, you know? In those cases, we're seeing young white males, and in one case, like the one in Las Vegas, an older white male, but we're seeing white males with mental issues using assault rifles. And the common denominator here is the mental health issue. So I don't necessarily think that we need to ban assault rifles, because that's not going to, I mean, you'd have to ban every gun, because there are hunting rifles that are far more powerful than the semi-automatic assault type rifles that are out there, you know, much more accurate, much more dangerous. And eventually people will figure that out. So, I mean, banning assault rifles isn't really going to solve the issue, but I think that maybe doing mental health testing will help us determine, well, first of all, who the people are who need help, and we'll get them help then so that they don't commit these murders, right? And maybe we'll stop some of them from happening by doing that. I think that it's something that we need to talk about. Maybe to own any firearm, you should have to have a mental health test. I mean, think about all the people out there who've got Alzheimer's who are running around with guns in their house, or dementia, or anything else, schizophrenia, you know, whatever. A guy behind the counter selling guns isn't necessarily the best person to determine whether or not this person is sane enough to own a weapon, is what I'm saying. So what do you guys think? I mean, I think that that's a conversation we need to have with our representatives. And I think it's a responsible way of handling things. I don't think that guns should be banned outright. I think that would be silly. If you think a ban on guns is going to stop the bad guys from having guns, talk to somebody from Cold War Russia, where they had the strongest of anti-gun laws, and yet the Russian mafia had no problem getting their hands on whatever they wanted. And the same thing will happen here. So banning guns isn't gonna solve the issue. It's not. It's just gonna let the bad guys have guns, the cops will have guns, and then the rest of us won't. It's not fair. But we do need to do something, and I think mental health testing is a good place to start. So that's all I have to talk about today, guys. I hope you all have a great day and a great weekend. TGIF for most of you. And for those of you like me who work on the weekends, well, happy Friday. You guys have a great day. I love you. Mwah. Take care. Bye-bye.